Okay, we are going to go ahead and get started because we do only have 30 minutes, which is not a long time. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I'm very excited to be here with you today. My name is Elisa, and I am a senior implementation specialist here at Formative. Before this, though, I was a high school Spanish teacher and technology integrator for about 8 years. Absolutely loved it, had a great time. I currently live in Philadelphia, and outside of work, I do love to travel when possible, which has been tough lately. But yeah, a little bit about me. So let's talk about some things to know. This session is being recorded. It will be posted. You will get the link for it. It's scheduled for 30 minutes, and please feel free to type questions into the chat. We probably will have time at the end for some Q&A. If I miss anything that you want to see, please feel free to go ahead and let me know, and I will try to cover some things, okay? All right, so some things that we're going to cover today, and I'm glad some of you told me some of the things you want to look at. We're going to look at audio and video responses. We're going to look at hot text and hotspot responses. Those are two new question types that I think are pretty cool. And then essays and rubrics, which are things that we use a lot, and Formative can definitely make it easier. So just some things that we are going to go over. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Formative. Feel free, if you have a Formative account, to get into your account, follow along with me. It's nice and easy to do. We'll have a good time here. Okay, so if you are brand new to Formative, you can sign up for free. However, if you don't have a premium account, some of the things that I will talk about today will only be available to premium account members, okay? So let's go ahead and let's start a new Formative. So click on New Formative in the top left, and that gives us our editing page. As always, you want to title your formative, or you end up with Untitled Formative plus a number. I'm on number 442. So I'm just going to do World Language Webinar, and this is Tuesday, 22222. That's fun. Great. So if you haven't been in Formative for a while, or if you're new to Formative, this is an instruction box. So if you randomize the rest of your questions, this instruction box will stay at that top of the page. It won't get randomized. So any important information you can put in that, and it will stay at the top of the page. So the title obviously is great to go there, but you can also use this drop down and you can add instructions. So you could say, you know, today we will discuss ... You can put that in the target language. You have this blue plus sign, okay? So you can click that. You can add audio. So if you would like to introduce the class using the target language, you can add a spot for yourself speaking what you need to say at the beginning. You can embed things here, and we're going to do that in just a second. One thing that I will tell you that I like to do with students, if you are looking for ways to do accented letters, what I do in the instruction box is I take it and I copy and paste all of them in, and I will talk about this in just a second. So let me copy and paste, okay? So here are my Spanish accented characters. Now my students can either use the code or they can copy and paste that character where they need it. I know it's a little time consuming, but it works. Also, you will get a copy and paste alert if a student does this. However, our alerts have updated so that you will see exactly like they copied that A, not just that they copied something. So you can see what they copied and pasted to be able to identify if they copied a whole, paragraph. Okay. So I go ahead and I do this. And then the other thing that I like to do in the instruction box here is I like to embed, and we'll go through this a few times. So one of the big things that I taught my students was how to properly use a dictionary to avoid Google Translate catastrophes, right? They like to use it, but maybe the context isn't always correct. So I like to make sure that they know how to correctly use a dictionary. So what I do here is I go to wordreference.com, which was my dictionary of preference, and you can use whichever one you want. I copy that URL. I go to iframe generator. Okay, so iframegenerator.com, and I can put this in the chat, but I put that URL in here. I hit generate. That gives me an embed code, which I'm going to copy. And then I'm going to go over to my formative, embed, and I'm going to embed that dictionary. So I can play with the height and the width here if I would like to. I think the height is fine. Let's make this a little bit wider. Let's see how that works. No, okay. Let's go back to 6. Let's make it 600 by, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay. And then I'm going to add that. So that word reference is right here. So if I want my students to look for cat, they have the dictionary here. You cannot embed the URL directly to embed it. You have to go through that process, unfortunately, because this doesn't have an embed code on its own. So I can show you how to do that again. If you're doing it within the instruction box, you have to do plus embed, and then you get that embed code prompt, iframe generator, which I'm going to drop in the chat right now. There you go. So you copy that, come back, paste it in here. You can do this outside of this instruction box by clicking that blue plus sign and doing embed. So see where it says paste an iframe embed code? That's where you put that embed code, and it goes right there. Okay, great. So again, that's something that I do for my world language classes, just to give them, if they need it, it's there. They know how to use it. And if I randomize my formative, the questions, this stays at the top. This doesn't get randomized as well. Okay, so let's jump into actual question types here. So I'm going to click on the blue plus sign. And the first thing that we're going to look at is audio and video. So I'm going to go to audio, and we have audio content, but we also have audio responses. So we'll talk about the different options here. If I want to add audio content, my option here is to record audio. So I can record myself reading a passage in the target language or asking a question in the target language. So I can say, hello, how are you doing today? Stop recording, add that audio, and that comes here. Now from here, I can go to this plus sign and I can do audio response. So I can say, answer the question. Okay. I can tell my students to answer that. And then what they see, you can always see with this preview button at the top. They're previewing as a student. This is what it looks like. So I can say, hello, how are you doing today? There's your audio question, and then it says answer the question, and it gives you the option here to record your audio response for them as well. You can obviously do a longer prompt than that. You can do many different things, okay? So that is how you prompt them and how you record your own. I know a lot of people have audio files that they want to upload. Currently, the easiest way that we have to do that is actually through embedding through Google Drive. So I need a Google Drive share link. What I did is I uploaded a PDF to my Google Drive. So I'm actually just going to get that share link and make sure that says anyone with the link, copy it, and then I'm going to paste that in here. And then that audio file does get uploaded. So that is currently the way that we have to upload these audio files. we're looking at better ways to do that as well. So, and that gives you
hello and welcome.
A nice way to do that. So from here, when you upload an audio file, you can also add questions to that. So you can do multiple choice questions having to do with it. You can add whatever you need to. In this case, sorry guys, I'm reading the questions in the chat. So in this case, embed doesn't need an embed code. A link to a file, only Google Drive share URLs. That's the only one is the Google Drive share links. Yeah, thanks, Kim. Okay, so that's an easy way to upload your audio file. Okay. Also to note, with these multiple choice, you can add audio here. There's many places where you can add audio, anywhere where you see this plus sign. Okay, so we had some questions on audio. Let's go to video before I ask about questions. So the next thing is looking at this video content. I'm going to click on that. We just added the ability to search YouTube directly from here, so you don't have to go out. So if I'm doing something, and I apologize, since I was a Spanish teacher, that's my wheelhouse. I'm going to kind of show that side of it, but feel free to insert your own language into this as well. So if I'm looking for a video about Mi Familia, and let's see, Spanish one. You might have, here we go. So here's a level 1. I like this. I'm going to upload it. What I can do after I upload it is go here. So mis mascotas. I can add a question here, and I can do true or false. Right? So you have a pet. You have a pet. Or you have a pet, true or false. And a student can answer that question at that timestamp. So you can add as many timestamps as you'd like, whatever types of questions that you want. And the video will stop at that timestamp as well. Okay, so you have that. And I can also make this question required so that students cannot submit this without answering that question. So that's a little bit about videos. One other thing to note about video, you can record your own video as well. Okay, so if you have a video, if you're recording yourself teaching, you can record a video. You can also record your screen if you're doing a virtual lesson. That is pretty popular right now as well. Okay, once you have your video content, you also can have students upload their own videos. So if you wanted them, if you're asking them about a pet and you want them to upload a video of their pet, they can go here and they get the same options. Okay. Okay, great. And again, we'll have some time at the end for some Q&A. All right, so next, we're going to move on to those hot text and hot spot question types. So hot text, what this does is this gives you the ability to ask students to find different options within a longer text. So I have a passage here that I want students to read and answer questions about. So my question here has to do about Lucia, and then my my reading passage is here, and it's all about Lucia. It's Lucia, it describes Lucia and her family and so on, but I want students to tell me what she likes to do. So instead of making this just multiple choice, I want them to be able to choose it. So I want them to highlight the words in the text to show me what she likes to do. So to create this, I'm actually going to start doing highlighting, and then it will say hot text. If I click on that, that gives it as an answer option. Okay. So this says Lucia likes or loves to play tennis, to write her blog. So I'm going to make that a hot text, but also to give other options, I'm going to put she doesn't like to study or to play soccer or study. Now, I gave them some options here, and I can select the correct answer so that it auto grades by clicking here. If I want to do more than one correct answer, so I'm going to click multi-select, and she loves to play tennis and write in her blog, so I'm going to make these two the correct answers. So that was multi-select. I can make this required as well, which is great. Can you add an audio file instead of recording it? Are you talking about the hot text here? Like, can you just add an audio file for this? Or are you talking about a different one? Okay, no worries. We will send the recorded version to you. Okay. Abigail, if you can just give me a little more clarity on your question there, I'd appreciate it. All right. So that is hot text. You basically put it in your reading. So can students highlight a text and auto translate it? Directly in this? No, they cannot. Do they have the ability to highlight it, send it, like open a new tab? Possibly, if you don't have a browser lockdown. So that's how that goes. So yes, let's take a look at what this looks like in student preview. So I'm going to open student preview, scroll down, and this is what it looks like. So the question is here, and then they have to choose the correct answer. So they can select this and this, or this and this. And they can deselect by clicking on it. Okay. This, where I see this question type going, is also find all of the nouns or all the adjectives, or select certain things. That's also a great option for this. Okay. All right. And then let's do hotspot, which is fun. So hotspot, I'm going to add an image of a map of South America. So I'm going to Google image search a map of South America. Here's a nice empty one. I'm going to add that. And then I can add select, so type your question here. I'm going to say like select Argentina. And then I can either do squares, circles, or dots. Let's do circles, and I can put those selections over these countries. Okay. And then to select the correct answer, I'm going to click there. And up at the top, this check mark sets that as the correct answer. I do have the ability to do multi-select. So if I wanted to change my question to a broader map and what countries have Spanish as its official language, I could do that and put multiple of these and select multiple countries. Okay. But I don't want to do that. I just want to do one. Where's Argentina? And let's preview this one as well. And this is what it looks like. Select Argentina. So you can see that these options are here. They can select that and move on. You can use this for vocabulary if you have an image of your theme and you want students to click on different things. You can upload your own images. I really think that there are a lot of things that you can do with this. It makes it really fun. Okay. Moving on to the last one. Okay, so free response. Our free response has changed quite a bit. So free response actually used to be our essay question, but it does so much more than that. So we're going to take a look at free response and give your students an open-ended question. So describe your for a celebrity family. I'm just going to give them an open-ended topic, okay, and let them go from there. However, notice that you do have the option to use rubrics now. So I'm going to toggle on use rubric. And you can see that I have some templates already created. You have the option to add new templates whenever you'd like. So if you click that, you can create a rubric within here. Click that when you're done and it saves it. Now, I have created like interpersonal rating level 1 for, it's an ACTFL, I pull it from the ACTFL website. So I'm going to use that, use rubric template, and that connects to this. So again, in student preview, when a student sees this question type, scroll down, here's my question. Here they have, a large space here to type. They do have this plus sign so that they can record themselves. If they don't want to type it, they can say their answer. They can embed a file. They can use emojis. They can upload an image of their family or celebrity family. They can video record their screen, or they can upload a file. So they do have these options in this question type, but they also can see the rubric here. So I'm going to open the rubric and you can see, like, the students can see exactly how they're going to be scored with the rubric. And then once you actually go to grade them and view responses, you just click on these squares and it grades it for them. Okay. All right. So can you pull an existing rubric from Google Drive? You do have to create it in Formative to have the clickability for it. You could theoretically pull it in and have it as an image, but then it's not clickable. Okay. What's the difference between short answer and free response? Good question. So let's add a short answer. All it does, it still gives you all of these options. There's no rubric attached to a short answer. And it shows for the student. Let's see. This is all it shows. I don't have a question attached to it, but this is all it shows is one line versus the big square. But those are the differences. They don't have the options there. So where can you view other teachers' rubrics? Good question. We're working on easier ways to share them. What I did and what might be a good option for you. So I actually created a formative with just those rubrics. So if I search from my formatives and I do rubrics, I just created a formative with like generic, here's a writing question, here's a speaking question. So here's a speaking question, I can add it. And then I have interpersonal speaking level 1 here. So I can share this formative with you. I can do certain things, but right now you can't just share the rubrics. Okay. But if you add in a question that has it, you'll get it, if that makes sense. Okay. So that's actually a really good segue into my last point here, which is sharing. So a lot of people want to know the best ways to kind of share this. If you've created an amazing formative and you think your colleagues would like it, if you think it would be great in your school's library, easy to upload that. So you're going to go to this triple dot menu in the top right, and you're going to click share. So a few things here. You have a collaborator that you can add. Be careful with this because collaborators are just like they are in like Google Docs or Microsoft Teams. They have full editing access to your document. So if your students are in your formative and your collaborator is changing things in there, that's going to go live for your students. So be very careful of the collaborators that you add there. If you have a friend or a colleague that you think would love this formative and they might want to make their own changes to it, give them a link to it so you can get this sharing link. So if you all want to use this formative, I can copy this link. I'm actually just going to drop it into the chat. You can take this formative, you can use it, you can redo it, whatever you need to do. Okay. So you can share a copy. I highly recommend that versus Collaborator. Or you can publish to library. If you have a school or district account, you can add this to your school's library so that your department can find it. All you have to do is click add. So you're going to give it a name. You can say what type of formative it is. So if it's classwork, go ahead and put classwork. Who can access this formative? So what this is going to be is your school and your district. So if you just want like your department or your school, put that in here for who can access the formative. Okay. Grades, to make it easier to search and find it, I suggest putting your grade, your subject, your language, and any description if you want. But that's an easy way to put it into your school or your district's private library so that other people can get a copy of it. When you pull from a library, it gives you a copy. It does not edit the live version. Okay. The other thing that you can do, if you're like, the world needs to see my formative, this is amazing, you can actually put this in the public library as well, and anyone with a formative account can see that. Okay, so that was a lot of information in like 25 minutes. I have a minute left. Ken, I have one Q&A, difference between hot text and hotspot. I hope that was answered. If not, I'm happy to explain again. But go ahead, drop your questions in the chat. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you learned something new. I hope there's something you can take back to your classroom. I'm happy to answer any more questions that you might have. Okay. Are students available to search formatives that? No, students cannot see any formatives that were not assigned to them. Not at all. Great. If you're using Google Classroom, when you go to assign at the top, these are my Google Classroom synced classes. I can assign and post to Google Classroom right from here. So I can go here and it'll bring up my Google Classroom classes and it automatically posted to there. Okay, so here's my students and it posted. If that doesn't work for you, you can copy this direct link and post that into Google Classroom as well. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. Again, please let me know if you have any questions, but you will receive a recording of this. We appreciate you attending. Thank you.